This meeting will also be conducted by audio and video conference without the requirement of a physically present quorum of the Rock Island City Council due to the disaster declaration issued by Governor Pritzker. Because of this order related to COVID-19 health concerns affecting the state and the city, the mayor has determined that an in-person meeting at City Hall with all participants may not be practical or prudent. Alderpersons and staff may not all be physically present at City Hall due to the disaster, and physical attendance at City Hall may be limited. To participate remotely during the public comment or public hearing portion of the meeting, please join by phone at 1-361-247-0098 and use PIN number 978-175-523 and the pound sign.
Thank you very much. Let's do the roll call, please.
Alderman Robinson. Absent. Alderman Hurt.
Here.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Present.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Here.
Alderman Parker. Absent. Alderman Poulos.
Here.
Alderman Geenan.
Present.
Mayor Tomes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence.
To the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, we have public comment. I would ask people, we do have a fair amount here, that people keep it to 5 minutes or close to, and try not to be too redundant with the comments. But Annette, and like I say, some of the names are, I'll try to get correct, but we have Josh Shipp up first. He's used to being on the other side of the table.
Who?
Who is this? Who says this?
Good evening to Mayor and Council. My name is Joshua Shipp. I live in Rock Island. I was once the former steward of the 6th Ward Alderman seat during the 2015 to 2019 season of the Rock Island City Council. And I'm brought here today primarily as a concerned resident. And I also wanted to hear and give credence and respect to the presenters from representatives from American Water to hear more about their vision for the city of Rock Island and potentially assuming ownership of infrastructure. My comments are going to be general at this point because I know tonight was just a presentation. I'm well aware that there's a process for an RFP, declaration of publicly owned infrastructure as assets to move this sort of massive and very consequential decision forward. And I wanted to add, to a perspective for sake of public conversation, which I hope will continue. I hope it'll become more transparent. And I hope that many of the questions, including many that were not asked tonight, can get raised so the public understands the full impact of a decision like this on themselves as citizens, on city operations, city revenue, and also risks associated with a deal like this as well. One of the topics I just wanted to put out there for sake of discussion is obviously there was a massive piece of federal legislation that was passed. A part of the American Recovery Act was the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds. The U.S. Treasury Department just issued a new frequently asked questions document. It's updated as of July 19th of this year. In that document, there are 65 individual references to the acceptable and permissible use of the $26.5 million that the city of Rock Island is receiving towards water and sewer uses. As is in the agenda tonight, there's, I believe, 15 references to water in the agenda. Seems appropriate for proposals and rate increases. That in the rate increase justifications, there's reference to the long-term costs. Many of those costs would be perfectly tailored in line with the $26.5 million allocation the city is receiving. And so I would implore this council to fully understand how those funds can be used to even further offset future rate increases for both water and sewer. On the sort of the general note of, I'm used to having a lot more time, so I am rushing here to wrap this up because I know there's others who want to speak. I have in front of me, the other document is the investor presentation from American Water. It's on its website. It's PDF for investors who want to go to the website and see and look at the company from a for-profit, publicly traded company perspective. American Water is a impressively successful company. Their stock started trading in 2008 at 21 something a share. Today it closed around $166. That's almost 700% growth since 2008. Regular quarterly dividends since 2013 to the tune of over $2 billion in dividends returned to shareholders, 180 million shares outstanding. If you are an investor and American Water is not in your portfolio, I would talk to your financial advisor. They are successful, and I say that with respect. The point is, the company operates to manage the cost and to return profit to shareholder. The significant difference for a public utility is that the utility should operate solely at cost. Water and sewer in the city of Rock Island are long-standing enterprise funds, which means that the customers pay the bill. Okay, and I think the public needs to understand that they've been paying the bill, whether it's to the city of Rock Island or to American Water. They will continue to pay the bill. They will pay the acquisition costs. They will pay all future capital improvement projects. But will they pay just at cost, or will they pay cost plus profit? And that, I think, is probably the central question that should be determined here is in the long-term best interests of this community. City of Rock Island has a long 180-year history of governance, of managing its utilities. And I would just conclude by saying the reference at the end of the presentation to the Rubicon was probably not appropriate. Following the crossing of the Rubicon, as Caesar did, it plunged Rome into civil war, and he later declared himself dictator and emperor. So again, I say all this with absolute respect to those of you up here. I know the job is hard. I know the due diligence has to be done. But the price tag at some point may be very hard to resist. But I would just encourage you to keep the totality of the situation at mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Russell Thomas.
Russell Thomas, City of Rock Island employee, water treatment plant. Been there 14 years, been with the city 33 years. Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, City Council. Thanks to American Water for coming and sharing their PowerPoint. I was there, missed some of it because I was outside talking to media. I guess the first question I have, Mayor, did we or did we not approve an RFP just now?
We did not do any vote or anything else.
Okay.
Just gave indication to the city manager to start to pursue information about proceeding with an RFP.
You gave them permission to
To start research, finding out who should write it, how it should be written.
Okay, well, my concern is that I would like you and the city council to consider holding off on directing the city manager to look into doing the RFP right now for a short time here, till we can get the Citizens Utility Board here, and either their director, who his name is Brian McDaniel, or their representatives, and they will do their own PowerPoint presentation for you and give you information that could also be very helpful in making this decision. I like what you said, Mayor, that if we was to go forward with this, that we would definitely need to look at the legal part of it and to do it right. You know, we went through this 10 years ago, 5 years ago with the Walmart, and it cost $20 million plus, and we got stuck with it. And, you know, my thinking is if we would have had the right contracts written up, Walmart would have paid for some of that, because I would have said, hey, you know, if you back out of this deal, you know, there's going to be some type of you're going to have to pay something. I don't know if it's 50-50, but something. I mean, for us to pay $20 million, and I know eventually something's going to happen, but, you know, like my dad always said too, I'm changing a little bit here. My dad always said, if it's something sounds too good, it probably is. And, you know, we have very good water here in Rock Island. Yes, we do have water bonds from the EPA or water loans from the EPA, very low interest loans. We have sewer loans, very low interest loans. Police and fire funds are underfunded, but that's not because of water and sewer money. Water had a $5 million surplus, water utilities had a $5 million surplus at the end of last year's budget. We will have even more now because of our water plant is so much more efficient. And this plant will last us probably 125 years, just like the old one did. So this $25 million that we paid on this plant, you have to look at that. This plant's going to last us a long time. It has UV light. Now, does it have everything to eliminate PFAS? I don't know. I'm not a chemist, so I can't tell you that. But I know that we can, up there, my supervisor is here, and the Public Works Director, and our chemist was here earlier. You know, we're going to do everything that the EPA requires when we have to. I don't think it's going to be drastic money things that we're going to have to take care of overnight. And when it comes to infrastructure and replacing infrastructure, I got this theme from the Utilities Board. I just printed this off today, and I've got a lot of other stuff that I printed, but this is real short. And they talked about 2013 and the new law, and I think it had to do with labor or something like that, I don't know. But this here said they bought 34 systems in Illinois for a total of $220 million. 34 systems. Now, some of them were small systems, I understand that. And then it says they had sales pending for 2 more for 32, so about $16 million apiece. I don't know how big them systems are. I guess my thing is that unless you are going to get a lot of money and you request that in your RFP, that minimally, I want this much money for our system. Minimally, I want this much infrastructure replaced. If not, it's a break of contract. You've broken the contract. It's done. I mean, words are nice and everything's good. The PowerPoints are great. That's cool. But, you know, it comes down to what Josh just said. They're out to make money. I mean, they're a business. You know, and Bally's just bought the company from Jumers from Delaware North. And Bally's wants to do a lot out there. So I've got a feeling that we are going to start bringing in the capital money that we use just for capital improvements or for economic development that we used to before COVID and before Delaware North, basically, when the new Jumers was built out there. I mean, we were getting $6 and $7 million, I think. That's going to happen again because I've talked with people out there. I know you have, Mayor. I think Randy probably has. But they want to bring a lot of people back to the Illinois side and spend their money. And so that's going to be good for us. So I would just ask if you would please hold off on the RFP. Myself and maybe a couple council members who, if they would like to join me, Judith or whoever, we can set this up. Randy can give us some dates and they could come and present a PowerPoint presentation and give you some information to support why you should not do this. I mean, I really believe that we can, and you talk about the lead pipes, you know, Josh talked about what money could be used for as far as the COVID money, but there's also infrastructure bills right now that are possibly going to get passed, one from, you know, maybe bipartisan and maybe not, but then another bill that they want to try to get passed by just pushing it through. But either way, the state of Illinois is going to get money, and it's going to trickle down to us. And then it's up to us how we spend that money. And we've always done a pretty good job of utilizing that money when we're replacing large streets and stuff like that, you know. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
You bet, thank you. So I got Linda is next, actually. Rudolph? Yes, Linda Rudolph. Rudolph, I apologize. Trying to get, it's a little difficult to read.
Spell it right anyway, so I was kind of intimidated by here. It's my first time being in here. Thank you. Hello, my name is Linda Rudolph, and I live at 2712 8.5 Avenue in the Greenbush neighborhood. Just to introduce myself, I have been a resident of the Rock Island area now for 2 years. I am also the Rock Island County NAACP Treasurer, board member of Bethany for Children and Families, president of the Links Incorporated, Quad Cities, Illinois chapter, an active member of the Greenbush Neighborhood Association, past basketball official for Rock Island School District, and also I have been employed by John Deere Corporation for 23 years. Today, I am here to talk about a vacant home I live next to. As stated, I have been a resident for 2 years. However, I have owned that property well over 10 years. I have made substantial investments in the home repairs over the years, such as new siding, new roof, new boiler, partial rewired the electricity in the house, new plumbing, and new windows. To be transparent, I did not make those investments because I wanted to. It was because Rock Island inspectors told me my house was not up to code. Yes, I admit I was naive to think I could purchase a home built in 1910 at a good price and did not have to do major repairs. But I took it in stride and made those repairs. My alderman is Dylan Parker, and I have discussed this with Dylan about the vacant house next to me. Dylan has been very helpful, but today I'm asking for your help. This property next to me has been vacant and since 2016. It's beyond repair. The back side of the house is caving in. It has holes in the roof where it serves as raccoons or in other wildlife, easy to enter and exit freely. The bushes, well, I should say now trees, are invading my property, and debris is out of control. Not only now I have to keep my property in compliance, I am faced with paying professionals to cut back wild trees on my property line, as well as I recently had to pay a professional to remove raccoons from my attic. Yes, the vacant house next door is used as a den for raccoons and other wildlife. I am scared to come out of my house at night due to the number of raccoons that they think that own the property. I am not clear why this vacant building that is beyond repair has not been dealt with properly. Certainly, the city inspection office dealt with me, made me bring my house up to code. Last year, I was told that the city contracted with a third party called ProChamps to help with the vacant properties. It sounds good in theory, but I am not confident this process is working by the pure neglect of the property next door. All I have heard from everyone is Rock Island does not have the resources, nor there is nothing they can do. Certainly, there is something we can be done. I cannot, and you cannot expect Rock Island residents to live like this. I just leave you with this thought. Everyone can't abandon the inner cities. We have to work together for the better of my community. I have done my part. I have lived out my obligations, and I'm asking for your help today. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you. You want, maybe talk at some point, Nathan there, his department takes care of those situations and make sure it's on the list.
Right, and I
we'll-
have continuously made phone calls after phone calls with no return and no
And
There you go.
And I'd like to say, as you take your seat, take a bow for all of the contributions you have made to the city of Rock Island. The 18th block of 40th Street would love to talk to you. I personally had to pay for someone to clean up the same issue. We have a raccoon den that is in the alleyway behind us, and it's starting to interact and infect the whole alleyway. They have done everything you have done. Their alderman shares the alleyway with them, and we have the same problem. So let's connect afterwards.
Absolutely. You just can't connect, you just can't expect someone to continue to live in those conditions when they have other
We have
options
this
to live
abandoned property.
outside.
It's the
of-
same situation you're in. So however we can solve it together, let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out. I'm
Yeah.
available.
Talk to Nathan. He can make sure that, not, to make sure it's on the list or we're aware of it. All right, Paul.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Paul Inman. I live at 915 30th Street in Rock Island. I have lived there for over 40 years. I'm rising now to speak as a concerned citizen about the proposed sale of our water system. And I am definitely against it, just so we'll know. I've heard about how much money this water company makes and how their stockholders are making good money and so on and so forth, which is all well and good for them, but it's not good for the people that they're taking their profits from, which would be, in this case, the city of Rock Island and the people who pay the water and sewer bills in Rock Island. I like it when we keep our profits at home with our city and our city employees and our council members who work for a mere pittance just to keep our city going. But I also want to talk to you about the decision. The decision you make every day, day in and day out, as council people, to sell property maybe that the city owns, to reallocate land, and to sell maybe some houses that the city might own, a property. That only affects a few people, maybe the ones in that neighborhood or in that zoning district. But this decision you're going to make, it's going to affect every man and woman and child in this city for the next 50 or more years. It's not a decision to be made lightly. It's not a decision I feel, truthfully, that should be made by the council. I feel it should be made absolutely by referendum vote of the people. Just as this is what we did when we stood up against the moving of the courthouse to Farmville. You might remember years ago when they wanted to move our courthouse to Farmville, and we stood up and said no. We demanded a referendum, we got it, and the people of the county said no. That's something we should do here because it's too big of a decision to be made just by a group of people, councilmen, who are here now, will be gone maybe in 5 or 6 years, but that decision will live on with all of us. And another thing I would like to remind you is that hypothetically, if something would happen, that the water system there would be a problem with it. Maybe there would be some problem where the water was contaminated, people were hurt in the future, something of that sort. I want you to all remember that you sitting here, those who vote for it now, just as those who voted for it in Flint, Michigan, were held criminally and financially responsible for something that happened that they voted for years earlier, they were held criminally and financially responsible for. So as you decide what to do, remember, this vote will go on, and that's a possibility. Something like that could happen here. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh, is it Ludwig? Outing?
Josh Ludeking.
Ludeking, okay.
I live in the 5th Ward in downtown Rock Island at the Solid Flats, if you're familiar. Mostly, I also wanted to speak about the privatization of our water and sewer system. Long and short of it is what I would like to sort of drive at, and we've touched on so far, has been the idea of a profit motive, because I think that is deeply antithetical to a public utility. Fundamentally, any sort of service or utility that we need in order to survive should never be run for a profit because it creates an internal conflict of interest. Ultimately, do we serve people who can't generate profit? If you prioritize profit, the answer would be no. Ethically, in terms of organizing any kind of society, the answer should be a blatant and resounding, like, yes, we help those people. Absolutely. If you need water, you should get it. It's truly that simple in my mind. Obviously, there are going to be like logistical difficulties about how to truly implement that, but that value needs to be sparklingly clear as the water we're dealing with. And ultimately, that's all I have to say. Profit is a conflict of interest and should not be governing our decision about how we manage our water.
Thank you. Andy DeFries?
Hello, good evening. Thanks for having us here. I just want to talk a little bit about the proposed sale of the water and sewer system. I'm not going to repeat any points that people have made already. They've all been really great. I just want to touch on a couple of things that haven't been mentioned so far. So first thing, just to kind of talk a little bit. So this proposal I see is, by its nature, it's completely anti-union and anti-worker, all right? I read the little PR packet that was, posted provided by American Water, and they talk in one part about, yeah, we have all these union workers, we love our union workers, but we all know that what's going to happen, okay? This thing gets sold off, they're going to look and figuring out, okay, how can we screw these guys, right? Like, what do we cut from? Let's start the pensions, let's start at healthcare, you name it, okay? So that's what this is about. And I think if anyone is pro-worker, pro-union, and if they vote for this, that's just a lie right there, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. So that's that. Number two, and this is the big thing, is if this thing gets sold off to a private corporation, okay, what is the guarantee that they are actually going to maintain the system? Particularly, let's talk about climate change, okay? So right now in the Pacific Northwest, it is burning. It's one of the largest wildfire seasons in probably forever, okay? It was so hot just a couple weeks ago in Oregon that it melted electrical cable and it caused roads to buckle. Over in British Columbia in Canada, right by Vancouver, a village was literally wiped off the face of the earth in a matter of minutes from a raging wildfire of 125 degrees plus, okay? So I talk about this because if we have our water and sewer system controlled by the city, we have some democratic control over what is maintained, right? Right now, we need to adapt to climate change because at this point, it is getting worse and not better. So who are we going to trust? Are we going to trust some private corporation that's out to make a buck? Or are we going to trust more on the city to actually maintain and improve and adapt this water system so it doesn't fail? And the reason why I talk about this in particular is because last year, when we had the derecho come through in August, I remember this, despite the flurry of activity that whole week with the whole cleanup process. I remember for at least one day, the water system was interrupted for a good portion of Rock Island, and maybe some of the others can confirm that for me, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So what's going to be next? Is it going to be another derecho this year, another flood, another polar vortex? Who knows? I don't want to know, but I'm sure it's going to happen again this year. Something terrible is going to happen to this city. And what's going to happen to our water and sewer system? Are people going to be without water for a week, 2 weeks? Exactly. Look what happened in Texas earlier this year in February. Winter storm came, one of the worst they've seen in probably over 100 years. And people were without power, people were without water for weeks. And people died from that, okay? So we need to be prepared for that type of catastrophe here. And that will only come through major investments into our water and sewer system from the city, because they are the only ones that will direct them to do that freely and utterly. The corporation will only let you, they'll decide what to do it if they're only forced to, okay? So that's why I just want everyone to kind of think about when they think more about this proposal, because if this is sold, and this is a permanent sale, okay? If this is sold, I am sure it will be something we will regret the instant the bill of sale clears. Thank you very much.
Well, did you say what organization you were with, or are you just as a resident?
I'm a resident of Rock Island.
Okay, because it looked like you guys had something together. Okay.
All right. James Blue.
Ah, there we go. That was the one.
No, I'm going to be nice.
So are you with an organization?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with a bunch of people. Where's my notes here? All right. So, a lot of stuff's already been covered. The fact that it's a large billion-dollar corporation coming in that wants to exploit our water system to make profit. They've already themselves covered, and Judith was kind enough to already mention that our rates will go up. What was it, 5% each year? How many years?
We are looking at taking,
We're voting tonight on 5.5% for water
Okay.
each year, starting September 1 through 2025, and 4.5% on sewer, starting September 21, or September 1st through the year 2025.
Okay. And when you asked for a discount, I counted 12 sentences that amounted to no. He didn't actually use the word no, because he's a good salesman. But I did notice. And so that rate increase is just going to come back to us. I know the big issue Jenny mentioned was that we'd have to take out a bond. But then he also already mentioned that there's a significant capital investment that comes with this. So what we're just doing is shifting the burden to a company. Are you guys going to do this for free? I mean, you said we're a team, right? If we're a team, you're just going to...
There's more for statements or anything else more than questions.
Sure, but we're a team. There was a whole slideshow about it. We're a big team, and they're just going to do this stuff for free, right? They're not just going to screw over everybody who lives in the town and then fuck off because they don't live here.
Let's watch.
I mean, it's
gotta
literally
watch
the
Mank.
source of all life,
Gotta
and
be
we're just going to
respectful.
give it away for money.
We got to be respectful here, sir.
Respect me. I live here. I'm going to have to deal with the consequences of this. We see it all over the country. We see it in countries all over the world.
Sir.
Privatizing water. Shut me down then. Do it. You're going to tell me that I'm wrong?
Profanity is not allowed during public comment.
That's correct.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we just want to be productive.
So we're shifting the burden.
Sir, can we move on to the next? We need to be productive here.
Move on.
Yeah, all right. Well, the last thing I'll say is,
No, there is no-
you all heard when Tweet said that they have no plan, right? Is the fix already in? Did you already decide that you're just going to sell? Is that why you have no plan to fix the water?
Have him removed, please.
Let's move on. So I'd like to move on to the next person, please.
Thank you for my time.
Deb Knudsen? Kasunis. Excuse me.
You should know that name.
I should, and I do. And I apologize.
All right, my name is Deb Katsunis. I have been a resident of Rock Island for my entire 68 years. And I'm not going to repeat what everybody else said, but I am now a senior person living on a fixed income of Social Security. My concern is the continuing raising prices. However, if you sell this, there's not going to be a control on what happens to us, especially seniors that are having financial difficulties. The other issue is I have nothing but kudos for our city water department. Several years ago, we had a break in the street. I have the insurance, so that was covered, but it froze my pipes when they had to open it up. They came back 3 times, opened up the street, thawed out those pipes running from the street to my home, and finally said, you know what, leave it at a slow drip so they don't freeze over. We'll adjust the bill, which is what they did. We are not going to get that kind of service with a private company. I guarantee you. Not going to happen. My other concern is if you look historically, when things are privatized, there is no oversight. There is no governing body like you people. There is no control from the citizens. Prices can go up. They can decide to shut down for whatever reason, to conserve water or whatever. And they can also look at people where they live in a tax bracket. And unfortunately, those in the lower tax bracket will be the ones underserved. It happens time and time again. If you look at what happened in Texas with the privatization of the utility companies down there, how many people died this last winter because they did not upgrade their structures, they did not follow the national guidelines on winterizing, and people died. And the same thing can happen here. Water is life. We need it. I like to turn on my faucet and get clean water and know I'm not going to get sick. I like to take a shower and know I'm not going to have a skin rash because my water's contaminated. If we go to privatization just for that little bit of money, we're all going to pay a huge price. Thank you.
Ann Sullivan.
Hi, my name's Ann Sullivan, and everything has been said just wonderfully. Just one thing I wanted to add on the water. Several months ago, I get a little newsletter called the Hightower Lowdown. And it's a pretty good newsletter. He gives you the information. He's a lot like his dad. He gets into the muckraking and issues people normally don't think of. But he did talk several months ago about the water problems in where they have sold them off. And the biggest thing, the nightmare to me, is if this company doesn't think it's making enough money at some point, they'll sell it to somebody else. And we'll have nothing to say about it. And it may be somebody that's in it for just the money, and then we'll be in a worse situation than what we were then. So I'm really against selling it off. I've lived in Rock Island for over 30 years. My husband and I remodeled an old house. It's right at 1202 17th Street. I can't prove it. I think it is one of the oldest homes in Rock Island, if not the oldest home. When we started tearing into it, it's got hand-mailed nails. It had old hand-hewn lath, and the plaster. We had to, unfortunately, we had to tear it all out because it smelled. It had been apartments for over 70 years, but it was a labor of love, and we have totally redone it. If anyone wants to come and look at some of the structures and see, right now I'm having it repainted. But when we originally started working on the house, we tore off some of the narrow slat siding, and underneath we found board and batten, which puts the age of the house back to pre-Civil War. So I can't prove when it was, because I've tried with the county. I can't find any records on it. It was probably built before there were records kept on that sort of thing. But the other thing about where I live, right next door, there's a house similar to the lady that spoke earlier. It's been empty for over 10 years. A man in California owns the home. The people on the other side of me have talked to him. He has no intention of paying taxes. He hasn't paid taxes since he bought the thing. He bought a group of homes. All I got from the city was, well, he's got till December 31st of this year to pay his taxes. That building has been empty for almost 20 years. There is the wiring is shot, the plumbing's shot, the foundation is crumbling. In February, and you've got pictures they came and took, the garage collapsed. I mean, it pancaked. And the house, if it starts leaning toward my house, I'm going to get more than a little nervous because there's only a 3-foot easement between the properties. So I would like somebody to come and take a look at that and just tell me what they're going to do to prevent that house from collapsing into my house, because I will be more than just a little upset. Thank you.
Understand? Once again, Nathan, excuse me, I don't mean to, Nathan's the one there to talk to about the house next door to you.
Okay.
And we'd love to have you on that little task force that just been created.
Passport?
That little task force that just was created now. You're on that now, too.
Okay.
All right. Next up is Zelda Cowell.
Got to get information now. She's a member of the task force.
Hi, my name is Zelda Cowell, and I'm extremely nervous, and but I just want to voice my opinion on the water thing, like everybody else. But what I'm asking for is, you need to give the citizens, because I'm a property owner, we need the right to vote either way, and I think it would be sad to put on you all's shoulders. I think as a citizen, I would like to have the right to vote. You know, because, you know, that's a lot of pressure. But I would also ask that before anything is done, whether it be this company or any company, you do some legwork and talk to the people where this company has their water. Find out what they feel. Find out if they were happy with it now, whether it be a year or 5 years that this company or any company has owned the water place. Are they happier? Are they better off? Have the rates gone up? I mean, everything's going to go up, either it be the city of Rock Island or the company. We know that. I'm willing to pay the taxes because I live in Rock Island. That's my responsibility. But please, I would ask you to go out and seek out Davenport or some of the Bellevue, Alton, Illinois. Talk to the people. Ask them what they feel. Do they regret making this decision? Are they sorry? Because once you make it, it is made. It is done. So I'm just asking you as a senior citizen, for our sakes, for our children's sakes, our grandchildren's sake, do some legwork, do some investing. Investigate, please, before we end up with another Walmart situation. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes the ones that signed up here. Is there anybody virtual that wouldn't have had a chance that needs to speak?
Yes, this is Sergey Brooks.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, and I will not be before you long, as we have heard several people comment on an issue that I plan on speaking about. But I wanted to address two issues, or two things today. One being the issue I've been coming before you all on for about a month now, a little over a month now. It's the Police Relations Commission that we've been trying to work with you to form. And it's just a recap, or briefly. We had a study session after we formally requested that. We had a study session on June 28th, to which we met with council persons that reached out to us after us reaching out to them with a draft. We met with them prior to that study session and got their concerns and got understanding where we were coming from and where we were trying to get at with the commission. And we negotiated give and take behind the understanding, which led us to that study session, which we did that further. And by the end of that study session, we had a compromise, so to speak, to which we were able to send a second draft within 72 hours to each council person, the mayor, and our city manager, to what we believe would give a final communication or more communication with expectation, to which I followed up on of requesting for this commission to be document to be put on for the agenda to be voted on, which we did last council meeting. But that request was met with, I'm gonna be very candid, my belief, my team belief of a last ditch or an effort to stonewall a commission, which we believe is a benefit to all residents, which do include our police officers, because as we've been clearly stating, it's not us against them. them against us, I don't know what that means. If you have that in your vocabulary as far as an attitude, I think that's poor leadership. And so I'm here to comment further that it is unfortunate that we had 4 council persons request for it to be put on the agenda last council meeting, and there was some form of a legal process that went forward this past couple of weeks that, in my opinion, further highlights and showcases an effort to stonewall something that 4+ council persons, I believe, maybe are interested in and move forward with. And so I'm here again to ask our leadership to stop doing irresponsible work, selfish work, and to do selfless work for the residents, and asking to move forward as we put on the agenda, and stop looking at ways in which we could be divisive or divisive. And furthermore, I'm going to briefly comment on the what I believe is would be a huge mistake, and that's putting it very nicely, to sell our water and sewer. As has been stated so eloquently, American Water, whom I met with numerous times, a couple of times, talked to representatives during my campaign. They gave me presentations of what they feel they would do for Rock Island, and I don't believe it's in the best interest of Rock Islanders to this day. And they're for profit. Rock Island is not a for-profit business, and we don't treat our citizens as such. And I believe American Water would do that as they have done elsewhere. And that's not a personal shot on them. That's just what they do in a capitalist society. They're there to make money. And whatever they sell their water for, or try to buy our water for, they're going to get that back, and then some. And we will be left without such a natural resource that we need. We won't have that forever. I think that's irresponsible. And so I would ask us to think in the future as leaders. That's what we're tasked to do. And think in the future, as someone also stated, we have COVID monies, yes, that we can use some for water if we decide that. But we also, if we're watching the news, we're aware that the infrastructure bill is coming down the pipeline, and it will be funneled to us just as this COVID relief money was funneled to us. What the number is, we don't know, but could it be helpful in addressing our water issues, our debt, and other things we need to do? Possibly. So I would respectfully request on behalf of myself and those who spoke earlier and other community members here and residents to refrain from rushing to sell our water and at all selling our water, and be responsible and be futuristic in that endeavor. And that will conclude my comment. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else virtually out there? Anybody else virtually would like to speak? Hearing none, we will move on with the agenda. Item number 7.
Minutes of the July 12th, 2021 special city council meeting and minutes of the July 12th, 2021 regular city council meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed. Is there discussion?
No, it's just Alderwoman Gilbert has pointed out some corrections, and those corrections will be made prior to posting the minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
In both the special city council and the city council meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Thank you, Alderwoman Gilbert.
been noted. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
I, assuming that the corrections are made.
Okay.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Yes.
Alderman Poulos. Aye. Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item number 8.
Minutes of the July 12th, 2021 executive session.
Motion to approve the executive session minutes.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
Yes.
The corrections, right?
Well,
You talked about the corrections for this one too?
for the executive session minutes, so I just thought it was odd that all of the council's questions were included in the minutes, but none of the responses of the two candidates. So I just raised that question.
And those corrections will be made also.
So withdraw the motion.
You want to make a new one?
I need a
Correct.
second. Does the second have to first withdraw?
You want us to read second? Withdraw. All right. You want to make a new motion?
Motion to approve the executive session minutes as corrected.
Well,
There he said he was going to include the answers to the questions.
So we can go like that, or you
there are
can
no,
just...
there are no corrections per se.
So do we not
Half of
approve
it
them?
wasn't written. I think we should.
Well, that's the correction, unless you want to just
Wait till next time.
pull it and we'll wait till next time.
Okay, withdrawn.
So someone should make a motion to put it on the agenda next week, or Hector, what's the exact motion they would make there? You don't just want to let it die, you should
to-
make a motion to...
Judith, you can make the motion.
Dave is the one who usually, to put it, it's to a date certain, which is August 9th. We'll
August 9th.
reconsider the minutes. Date certain, August 9th, council meeting.
Second.
It's moved in second. Any discussion on this? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos. Aye. Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 9, Rock Island update. Bear with me, a couple items here. 2021 Rock Island Citizen of the Year Award nominations. Nominations are being taken for the 2021 Rock Island Citizen of the Year awards. There are 7 categories, which include business, professional, education, individual, city employee, organization, and youth. In addition, there is a special nomination for honoring Citizen of the Year. Honorary Citizen of the Year. Get that correct, Mike. This will be an individual that has contributed to the good of the community, even though they do not live in the city of Rock Island. The deadline for receiving nominations is Friday, August 6th, and can be done at www.rigov.org/COY. For more information, please call Committee Chairperson, Alderman Dylan Parker, at 563-940-6073, or Interim City Clerk Josh Adams at 309-732-2010. Quad City Botanical Center, Art in the Garden. The Quad City Botanical Center will be hosting their 5th annual event, Art in the Garden, on Saturday, August 7th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The event features local and regional artists, including potteries, painters, sculptors, jewelry makers, and others, who are inspired by nature to create. Their works will be exhibited and sold at this outdoor show. The event includes music by Roger Carlson and friends, demonstrations by the woodturners, and fun activities for the kids. Tickets can be purchased at qcgardens.com or be paid at the gate. Admission is $8 for adults, $4 for members and children ages 5 to 15. Admission is free for kids under the age of 4 and younger. Another one, Floatzilla, is August 21st, a little ways off, but August 21st. It's put on by River Action. It's going to be down at Sunset Marina. And there'll be several places you can start throughout the Quad Cities. But I guess I'll make a little note here that the mayors have put together a little challenge, who can have the most registered for this event in their city.
Uh-oh.
So I guess I'm pleading for the citizens of Rock Island to register for this event, so we can have some bragging rights against the other cities. So.
I know some folks that would do if you chip in a few dollars.
I'm not chipping any money, but get your canoes, your kayaks out, join the fun. It's a lot of fun to be down there. A lot of different events going on. So please help that challenge. Thursday night, we're back to Thursday night, July 29th. The Thursday Night Groove free concert series, Schriever Park. It opens up at 6 p.m. There's be food and drinks available. The concert's at 7, from 7 to 9. It's free. It starts, like I said, the 29th and goes every Thursday after that throughout the fall. Another one here, Demetra, I don't know if you want to, you could talk to this more than me. National Night Out, 2021, Police and Community Partners. It's Tuesday, August 3rd, from 5:30 to 8 p.m., Longview Park, Upper Pavilion. It's free refreshments, games, activities provided by the Rock Island Public Library, the Rock Island Police Department, K-9 unit demonstrations, Rock Island Fire Department, Rock Island County Sheriff's Department. There'll be a tug of war. Are you going to be part of the tug of war?
Absolutely,
Music by DJ Ronnie Love. Of course, it's sponsored by the Community Caring Conference, Amitra. So if anybody's got questions about it, 309-373-1202. You can get a hold of her and ask if you have any questions, but it should be a great night. Do you want to speak a minute on it, real quick?
You're going to get the proclamation.
You're here, and, oh, we got a proclamation. So.
Go ahead, do it
Okay.
now, though. It's just-
All right, thank you very much, Mayor, and for the city manager, Randy Tweed, and for the council member. Thank you very much for allowing me once again to promote National Night Out. This is my favorite time of the year. This is my favorite thing that I really live and stay here in Rock Island to do. I just love National Night Out. And I just need to let you know this year, a lot of the kids, including myself, are excited for the K-9 unit because we all want to meet Sparky Jackson. I just can't wait to meet Sparky Jackson, the new police dog, doing the K-9 unit services. I'm doing presentation. He already told you what day it's going to be, August the 3rd, and doing this at Longview Park as always. Now, not only is this for the community and the police partnership, which I do promote wholeheartedly, and for us to get together, but it's also a family event that is aimed at encouraging residents to be visible and active in their neighborhoods and to communicate effectively with law enforcement to fight crime. The Community Caring Conference has organized block clubs across the city for over 45 years. And I got a T-shirt to prove it. For 45 years. The CCC, we are inviting the active neighbors, those who have block clubs that need to be reactivated. We're asking you all to all come out. Bring the kids. Let's have a good time and support our local agencies that's going to be there. The Rock Island Finest. When I say the finest, I mean the city staff. I mean the public works. I mean our Rock Island Fire Department,
Right.
Chief. I mean the police department. And I also mean the Rock Island County Sheriff Department. For the first time, the Rock Island Library will be in charge of the activities for the families and kids. So it's going to be a lot of fun and
partnerships.
getting together.
New
Let's take back the night.
There you go.
New partnerships every year. Yeah.
Yes. Every year we get new partnerships.
Well, we're going to be a little redundant. We're going to read the proclamation so it's
Okay.
officially on record.
Thank you.
Yep.
Proclamation declaring Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021 as National Night Out in the city of Rock Island. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch and locally the Community Caring Conference are sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021, entitled National Night Out. And whereas the 38th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the city of Rock Island to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas the City of Rock Island Police Department plays a vital role in assisting joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Rock Island and is supporting National Night Out 2021 locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of Rock Island be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Rock Island. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program.
Now therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, Illinois, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021 as National Night Out in the city of Rock Island, and call upon all our citizens to join the Community Caring Conference, the Rock Island Police Department, the Rock Island Park and Recreation Department, and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting this 38th Annual National Night Out.
Thank you very much.
Well, as they go up, I mean, Amitra, the enthusiasm and excitement that you bring to organizing Rock Island is contagious. And August 3, Tuesday, 5:30 to 8, the Longview Upper Pavilion is National Night Out. Just come and listen. You'll hear DJ Ronnie Love. That's where you'll see him. Next Tuesday.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you.
Next Tuesday.
That's next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And I'm sorry, I need to add one thing. My alderman, alderwoman was Judy Swanson, 4th Ward, and I was just so very proud when she was elected, and she served as a great alderwoman, and that I hate to tell her that I have moved.
Oh, no.
I have moved. The house is up for sale since the passing of my husband, Salvador, but I have moved to 110 19th Street, Rock Island, in the beautiful McKesson Lofts, but thank you very much.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you very much, and that enthusiasm is wonderful. Item number 11.
Presentation of the calendar year 2021 general obligation refunding bonds.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and I'm just here to introduce the presenter for this presentation. He is Anthony Maselli of Spear Financial Services. He is one of the vice presidents, and he's used to this. I think he's done it numerous times. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over to him for our presentation.
All right. Sorry about that. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight I'm going to be talking through the city's refunding opportunities for the year, specifically talking about some restructuring of general obligation bonds related or paid by gaming revenues, as well as some other refunding opportunities that the city has for cost savings. Does this work, or is? Oh, okay, it's on that. So just to start, a large portion of the city's general obligation bonds are paid by gaming revenues. In 2021, that's approximately $3.7 million. That peaks in 2025 to about $4.3 million. And you know, historically, that level of debt has really taken most of the annual gaming revenues. Obviously, on the heels of global pandemic, we've seen gaming revenues decline. In FY20, only about $1.5 million of gaming revenues came in, and obviously budgeted much lower for FY21. A few years ago, I worked with city staff, and as we had accomplished prior refundings and issued new money bonds, we'd always kept in mind this idea of refunding and restructuring gaming-supported debt service to lessen the reliance that the city has on that revenue stream, so that it could be used for other things, and ideally not used for as many new money capital needs. So there's more of an ongoing revenue stream that could be used for pay-as-you-go capital projects, rather than always having to rely on borrowing because of so much of the debt service was taking up gaming revenues. So we can go to the next slide. So this year we have two refunding opportunities for general obligation bonds that are paid by gaming revenues. It's the 2012 A bonds. There is approximately $1.5 million remaining outstanding, Interest rates range between 2.375 and 3%. These bonds were originally issued for Marina, Special Assessment, and 11th Street improvement projects. Those bonds mature 21 through 2032 currently. We also have the 2013 A bonds. There's approximately $6.75 million remaining outstanding at this point. Interest rates range between 3 and 4.75%. And this issue was done for a portion of the police station renovation and the 23rd Avenue project. So, when we initially talked about the gaming debt restructuring, the goals, obviously, number one, to lower the city's gaming debt burden, lower the amount of debt service that's paid by gaming revenues. The other big goal was to take advantage of currently callable bonds. Municipal bonds aren't like a mortgage where you can refund them anytime. They have certain call provisions, which is why the 12 and 13 bonds are callable this year, but not any of the bonds issued after 2013, but they will be in the future. In order to execute a refunding, you've got to do that with as early as 90 days before that call date. You can do it any time after, but as early as 90 days. If you were to start refunding bonds that weren't callable, it would be much more costly for the city. So the idea was to take advantage of bonds as they become callable and then look at those refunding and restructuring options as they present themselves. With this plan, we're not really looking at restructuring any of the bonds that were related to the special assessment. We're trying to do minimal restructuring for bonds that were issued for road improvements just because the average life on that project isn't really conducive to a restructuring of debt service, and looking at specifically restructuring bonds issued for longer-term capital projects such as the police station. So this is the financing model that has been discussed. If we just walk through the spreadsheet, to the very left is, again, the existing gaming revenue debt service. So this is what you currently pay, as we had discussed. The next two columns represent the new bonds that would refund the 13A and 12A bonds. Okay, so in your 13A specifically, where you have a large portion for the police station, we push debt service out from 2026 through 2040. And then for the refunding of the 12A bonds, we've got some special assessment and some road improvements. Those bonds aren't as long of a restructuring. It's only an additional 2 years beyond the current term of the issue. If you moved to the third set of columns here, you can see the refunded debt service for the 2012As and 2013. So that would be the debt service we are removing and replacing with the new bonds. And then the blue columns to the right show the overall savings or loss as a result of the restructuring and the estimated new gaming-supported debt service. As you'll see, again, what we're trying to do is lessen that impact, lessen the burden that gaming debt service takes on the annual gaming revenues. On the first 2 years, you'd see approximately $550,000 in savings. Beyond that, we're leveling debt service at about $3.7 million and eliminating that peak that gets up to 4.3 in 2025. And then debt service will then slowly start to taper off by 2040 under this existing plan. Now, as years go on, there will be additional bonds that we can look to refund. Whether you choose to refund them to the original term or restructure them can be decisions down the road. But I think this sets you up in a spot where debt service remains level and predictable in the future rather than having that kind of peak in 2025. Beyond the gaming revenue-supported bonds, there are a few IEPA loans that can actually also be refunded for savings. This isn't it's not a normal situation, I would say. Usually IEPA loan rates are very low. However, as they begin to get paid down and their rates range above 2%, and we find ourselves in a very low interest rate environment, we can refund those bonds or those loans as bonds for savings. In this case, it would be a refunding to term, no extension of debt service, just a pure refunding for savings. Right now, assuming current rates, we're estimating the refunding of these two loans, which would be about $13 million in total principal amount, would result in approximately $280,000 in debt service savings. Again, so this type of refunding, specifically for savings, what we would do is we would come back and set a savings target, and we would only go through with a refunding, assuming rates held and the savings met the refunding threshold. It would just be tabled if it didn't work. As far as timing, obviously we're having the discussion today regarding the initial plan. We could come back as early as August 23rd for a first reading of the bond ordinance, return in September for a second reading and approval of a parameters ordinance that would allow us to move forward with the refunding under certain parameters, maximum par, minimum savings, maximum interest rate, things like that. Price the bonds in mid-September. That's when we'd lock in interest rates, assuming they were still at the attractive levels we have today, and then close around October 11th. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the financing of the plan.
Questions? Councilman? Oh, very good.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, item number 12.
Mayor Tomes will close the regular meeting and open a public hearing regarding the HUD CDBG Program Year 2021 Annual Action Plan.
All right, closing the regular meeting, open to public. Is there anybody who wishes to speak about the HUD CDBG program? Anybody virtual or in the audience? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting and entertain a motion.
I move to approve the Program Year 2021 Annual Action Plan as submitted.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? Yes.
Would Nathan come up, please? And for the public's benefit, so this annual action plan is written in a format prescribed by HUD. So if it seems like I'm jumping back and forth on different topics, it's because that's the way the HUD report is written. So Nathan, I'm just going to go through the pages. Do you have the report in front of you?
I do, and
Okay.
I also want to just note that I'm joined by Colleen Small-Volman virtually, who will be able to
Colleen's
help
on?
answer these questions.
Good, Colleen's on, because I think we're
Yes,
in
she
either.
is.
Okay.
So on page one, one of the objectives is improving housing conditions, one of the top two priorities. So do we have a housing plan for the city of Rock Island?
Yes, we do have a housing plan. We have a housing needs assessment, and we have the consolidated plan, which also we use to address our housing protocols, what we're going to do for 5 years.
So is that something that's done in coordination with all of the other housing partners in the Quad Cities, so that we're all kind of rowing in the same direction?
Nope. Each community has to do their own consolidated plan based on the community's needs.
No, I don't mean the individual communities. I mean the not-for-profits who are involved in housing.
Well, the stakeholders, they come to the meetings and they have input, and we had stakeholder meetings to gain input on housing and housing issues. But at the end of the day, our goal and HUD's expectation of us is that we will use our housing needs assessment and our AI, the analysis of impediments of fair housing choice, to develop our housing plan. And to develop, and that's what goes into our consolidated plan.
Okay, so on page 2, there's some targeted areas within the city. Could you please provide a map to council as follow-up to this meeting?
Yep.
So I'm on page 3 now. So there were 2 public input meetings and 1 stakeholder meeting. And I have to thank Alderman Geenan for rallying the troops and getting people out for these meetings. Typically, we don't see anybody at the meetings, but.
Oh, thank you, that was a lot of work, yeah, you're welcome.
So how many at the public input meetings were actually stakeholders or not-for-profits?
There was a couple of not-for-profit public service organizations that attended the public meetings, but the majority of them were on the stakeholder meeting.
Okay.
I can't give you off the top of my head an exact number.
Like there were a lot of stakeholders that were also at the public input meetings. I attended both public.
There weren't a
input
lot.
meetings.
No, there weren't a lot. There were some.
Okay, so in the annual action plan, there's numerous references to the pilot program for rehabilitating 2 homes. It's on page 6, and then it's also referenced on page 21. So let me just go back to that. So, and I understand you're doing this pilot program so that maybe ultimately you get HUD home investment funding. But again, for the amount of money spent on a house that had good bones, but everything needed to be replaced, we could probably have built a brand-new house for less money. I know CDBG funds, you can't do new construction. However, the home program, which is the ultimate goal of getting funding through that, that does allow new construction. Why not identify homes that need less work and invest in those, or target a specific block and allocate $20,000 per home on that entire block and upgrade those homes?
That's a wonderful point. No.
Because the whole purpose of this is to rehabilitate vacant homes and put them back on the tax rolls so that they're making money for the city. But not only are they making money for the city, they're also revitalizing neighborhoods. We can put $20,000 into a whole bunch of homes and we're still going to have the vacant houses. And we're going to still have the houses that aren't being addressed. One of the things that if you read the housing needs assessment and if you read the analysis of impediments to fair housing, Rock Island has the biggest amount of vacant homes per capita.
Yeah, 250.
We have a lot. And, you know, some of these homes aren't going to require, you know, the amount of rehabilitation that we're doing in this one. To clarify, we are currently doing the pilot home. We are hoping, and we have put into this annual action plan to do 2 homes that will be outside of the pilot. The pilot is actually looking at how we do all of this, what works, what doesn't work. How do we build our policies and procedures in order to make sure that this goes forward and it flows in an appropriate way? How do we maximize our dollars? You know, so that's what we're working on now, is we're looking, using this pilot house to to create those policies and procedures to go forward with the 2 houses that we have allocated funds for in the 2021 annual action plan.
Okay, so that's not really addressing what I'm trying to get at. So at the end of the report, it also says about the overall goal of CDBG is to reduce the number of poverty level families in Rock Island. So if you were investing in homes that are homeowner occupied instead of vacant homes, we could be doing more good for the people in the neighborhoods that it's supposed to address.
Well, we're already doing that because we're doing that through our emergency housing rehabilitation program. We're doing that through our non-emergency housing rehabilitation program, and we're doing that through the targeted area repair and rehabilitation program.
Okay, I'm going to get to those.
About that targeted one, too.
So we're already doing that. We're already putting $20,000+ in some of these homes.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think we have questions about that targeted one later.
Well, yeah, okay. So there was $250,000 allocated for the 2 homes, the pilot program, but we're going to spend $230,000 on 1 home, which leaves only $20,000 left. So
No, that's not right. That's not right. We're going to do 2 homes. We're going to do $125,000 apiece. The money that we're spending on the house that we're working on right now came out of the 2020 budget.
Okay, but we approved contract for $230,000, $40,000 from IDA funds, and $190,000 from CDBG. But let's move on.
Now, just so I can clarify, this is a pilot program. It's not going to move forward until it's brought to council.
Right.
And something in here also is the resale of the house, which will come back in. So the net CDBG funds will probably be about $125,000. But we're not moving forward with this until we bring it back from
Right,
council.
but it's in the annual
It is,
action
yep,
plan.
but.
So
Which is
I'm
why we're
just
asking questions.
offering my feedback on that
is the only
program.
No, I get it. I'm just explaining for everyone in the audience.
Yeah.
That's listening that we're not guaranteed to move forward with that. We're doing a pilot program, and we're going to bring it to council and see what council thinks about it.
Because most of the feedback I got was,
Throw it out.
why is
Right,
the city doing that?
and that's why once we finish it, then we can bring you the whole picture, and council
why
can
I'm
make some
asking.
decisions.
So moving on
part of
page
the process.
23, number 4, public infrastructure, the housing benefit, 600 persons assisted. So it includes funds for remediation for Solomon Homes, great. Hauberg Carriage House ADA bathrooms, $25,000, and then public facilities, $105,048. So, and I know that some of this money is carryover money, but how are you going to finish the Hauberg Carriage House ADA bathrooms with, they're going to cost a lot more than $25,000. From what I understand, the architect fees alone are like $20,000.
Well, and she has been communicating with council forever that it's a big hefty price tag, and we've been prepared for a $90,000 price tag.
Yeah, and that, just to add, sorry, that program has not even come to council for approval.
Oh,
All we did was put a placeholder in the annual action plan, but the project itself, council has not approved that project or spending any money on it yet. Just,
so you mean like when the contract comes?
yeah, we have not, yeah, they're asking for more than just that money there. It has not come before council, it needs to come in a study session and explain
The
the
$25,000
project.
we've already approved, that isn't enough? This is an addition?
Oh, there's more than that they're asking for, because they're asking for things outside of just
But
the
we've-
restrooms.
We've already voted and allocated some money from community development block grants, haven't we?
That was my understanding,
My
but I'm new
understanding was
to
that was
this.
part of an annual action plan. Is that right, Colleen?
Alderman Geenan, could you repeat that?
Did we
It's- I'm
already
having a
approve
hard time.
money? Did we already write a check to the carriage house? I thought we approved 25,000 already out of CBGD. Wasn't that in an annual action plan?
That's what we're approving tonight.
And that's not enough, though.
Well, that just says, okay, we've allocated the money. A $25,000 expense still has to come to you for approval.
Oh, okay.
And that whole project has to come to you because it contains more than just the restroom. So
Right.
you haven't seen, that's a whole nother project. This is a placeholder for some amount of money. It's going to be more than that.
Thank you for the clarification.
We can use the CDBG funds to remove an architectural barrier, which is how it can apply to the ADA restrooms. But there's other scope with the carriage house project that the CDBG funds won't be able to use for, which is why we've invited them to a future study session to explain the project to you.
Yes, because then there's, and also those other tentacles you can grab of other funding sources.
Correct.
That's just great partnership. Great, thank you so much.
Sorry, Alderman Keenan. So what public facilities are we spending $105,000 on?
We're working on the firehouse at Douglas Park. And so at this time, we have set aside, in the past, we went to council and they approved the money for the firehouse and for Douglas Park. So there is still $67,000 of CDBG funding for the roof. But there is probably going to be a need for more than that to address the project.
Okay.
Would that mean there would be some carryover to help fund that project?
So that was 67,000 out of the 105,000?
Yeah.
No, there's already $67,000 that we have already drawn down that was in a different action plan.
This doesn't make sense.
And we've been trying to get a new roof and get these repairs and restoration done for the firehouse for 2 years. And we're finally at the place where we've gotten it through the State Historic Preservation Office, and the architect is now putting the bid documents together so the whole thing can go out for bid. And we're just waiting to see what those bid costs are going to be, especially now since the price of materials has gone up due to the pandemic.
Okay, moving on. Under number 6, job creation, I'm not sure if this 398,000, almost 399, is for the Curliff Loan Fund, jobs created retained, 15 jobs, 4 businesses assisted. That equates to $26,600 per job, or almost $100,000 per business of 4 businesses.
Technically, HUD says that you can spend $35,000 per FTE. So it just depends on how the projects come in and how the applications come in and how much money they want.
Okay, so the Curliff loan program. So we had problems with this loan program before. We had to suspend it for several years. And under the current loan rules, you have to create 1 job for every $10,000 that's borrowed, which would equate to 40 jobs, not 15. But my question is, so how are we going to avoid repeating the disaster of what happened before with Curliff? Are there new rules, new regulations? Will there be a new board appointed? Which I think there should be a new board appointed.
No.
I'd like to be on
The
that
Curliff
board.
committee is sound. They have new members. And we are addressing HUD's issues, the findings that they gave us, and we're addressing those, and that is how we will be able to put this program back online. As I said at the last meeting, the council will have a set of policies and procedures to review in August, and Everything follows the HUD guidelines, everything follows OMB, and the underwriting, which was the biggest issue that HUD found in the findings, has been fleshed out and is much more authoritative and transparent.
So, okay, moving on. On the targeted area and for code enforcement, so the funds that are allocated, so when a homeowner receives code violations in the targeted areas, are those homeowners eligible to receive those CDBG funds to assist them with mitigating those code violations, or is that amount of money, the $163,000, is that to pay for the staff doing the code enforcement?
The amount of money that's set aside for the targeted area repair and rehabilitation program for 2021 is $198,000 and some change. What you're looking at is the service delivery cost. And to answer your question, yes, in order for us to use our CDBG dollars to pay for a code enforcement officer, we must provide a avenue for those code enforcement violations to be addressed through that program, and we do.
I don't understand that answer. Okay.
That's what we do. Code enforcement does a violation, and then the planning and redevelopment side comes in with the program, and then we make it available to the people who have had violations.
And so there is an inspector that only inspects the targeted areas, and she's paid 100% through the CDBG money.
Right, I'm aware of that.
Okay, I didn't know if everybody
Yep.
was, though.
Yep. But so I'm still not clear. So you receive notification you have code violations. So can you apply for CDBG funds to fix those?
Yeah, that's the whole purpose was, we used to just have a stick, now there's a carrot too. So we can give someone violations and say, oh, by the way, we have this program to help you do that. That's the thing we put in place a couple years ago.
Okay, so what's the average amount of money that a homeowner receives under that program?
It depends on what they need to have completed.
I said the average.
We've spent up to, we can spend anywhere from $1,000 to $25,000 or $30,000, which we're doing. It depends on the need.
Okay, on page 37, there's a whole discussion about homelessness. So, and it mentions some of our partners, Winnie's Place, Bethany's Children's Services, Stevens Place, Christian Care. So has the city funded these organizations in the past? Or are we just a partner in providing resources to homeless people saying, well, these are the programs where they're at?
In the past, when we had public service dollars to provide, yes, we did. But now we do not. But they're a stakeholder, and HUD requires that we partner with them and we work with them and we stay engaged with them. So that's what we do.
So how long ago was it they last received funding from the city? You said before they received public service dollars. And I know right
couldn't tell
now.
you. I don't know. Since I've been here, MLK has gotten the public service dollars, and I don't have any history on when and how all of that happened and when it
I believe
changed.
you could call, this is Alderman Geenan, we could talk to Reverend Michael Schwartz. He remembers when that actual allocation existed. It was under Mayor Mark Schwiebert. There was a time when in the Martin Luther King, I believe it was in the 80s or the 90s, there was a shift in the allocation of public service dollars. I've been trying to explain this for a while. Thanks for the opportunity. There was an opportunity where that actually shifted, And it became the norm then where we were the city that had no public access. When we see family resources knocking on the door, when we see a lot of nonprofits knocking on the door to say, hey, can we help them work with Rock Island? We're doing great partnerships with Moline and it's because they're accessing that public service dollars that we have been told we allocate straight to the Martin Luther King Center. No, council, yes, does by approving the budget, but approving a policy that was set up specifically for this city through a different administration and how we allocate our public service dollars. So it's not talking about, are we going to defund the Martin Luther King Center? The conversation shifts to then, are we willing to allocate our tax dollars to fund an asset that we have within the city of Rock Island, which would be the Martin Luther King Center? It costs about $1 million of our public service dollars to do that. So you can decide where you like us to fund it.
Well, I do know that at the two public input meetings I attended, the comment that was made over and over again by, well, you could call them stakeholders, non-for-profits in the community was, how can we have access to the public service dollars like we have in all of the other communities and we don't have in Rock Island? And I don't see that comment included, and that was one that was repeated over and over and over again.
That was at that first
in these
public
two
comment
meetings.
meeting. That first public comment meeting I was at, I believe, was a gentleman who kept pressing for that information, and you're right, it was not reflected in the meetings. I was present at that meeting, so I can witness to that statement.
But it's not
And I was at
included
the
in the
stakeholder
report.
meeting, and it was addressed at that one.
But it's not in the report is what I'm saying.
Actually, it is in there because I specifically point out in the annual action plan that if we're going to fund other public services, that we have to change the way we do it. You know, and I also say that HUD needs to raise the cap, the 15% cap on public service.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, that was very good. So I'm not sure how we do that, but I applaud that you did include that we need to figure out a way to increase that. Moving on page 44, the city continues to work to reduce the number of poverty levels, I think that's a typo, families. And you don't have to do it tonight, but could you please provide historical census numbers for the last 10 years showing the number of poverty level families in Rock Island so we can see, are we making headway? Are we losing steam? What? So I'd like to see that data.
Well, as soon as the census data comes out, we'll be able to tell you that.
Which is, I believe, the previous data, if she wants it over the past 10 years, you'd want the American Community Survey, which is done every 2 years. By state regional, as a member or agency, can get that for us for free if Colleen just wants to request that.
Right, I'm aware of that, yeah. I don't want to take more time on this, but I would like, Nathan, if you could address for me at a later date the evaluation process for all of the CDBG funded programs. And then I have
In general, or are you referring to a section in the document?
no, just in general. Well, it's mentioned on page 45 at the bottom, but
Okay.
it doesn't go into detail. So is there some reason why in the action plan that was posted for public comment included partial transcript of the meetings, but the agenda version does not have any transcript?
Good one.
Nope,
Okay.
I missed it. I
Okay.
didn't include it, so that's my fault.
Yeah, there are a few.
So it was
key
only a
missing
partial
parts.
transcript, too. I'd like to see a full transcript.
There are some key parts that I think we missed accidentally.
Yeah, there was.
I remember.
So at the last city council meeting, we were talking about the 2020 amended action plan. So, and we discussed those unspent CV funds. Were those being carried over into 2021?
No, they're not.
Okay. So the last thing I would just like to state, I would like to make a request to have a detailed monthly financial report for CDBG funds showing revenues and expenditures, as well as the recipients of all payments, so that in August, if we could see July's report and then continue that reporting, excuse me, every month, so we can actually see what's being spent.
Second.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Nay.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Yes.
Alderman Poulos,
Yes.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
4-1, motion carries.
Item 13.
A special ordinance authorizing the sale of city-owned property located at 721 14th Street, parcel 097-454, PIN number 073-530-9006, to Mr. Kenneth Clark for $1,000.00 plus closing costs. Second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
So this will be on the next agenda?
This is
No,
the
this
second.
was the
So it
second
passes?
reading.
It passes.
Second reading.
Congratulations.
Item 14.
Claims A through C. A, report from the Information Technology Department regarding payment in the amount of $10,283.91 to Asset Works LLC of Wayne, Pennsylvania for a renewal of the Fleet and Fuel Software Annual Support Maintenance Contract. B, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $67,500.00 to the State of Illinois for the annual National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permits issued by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment number 5 in the amount of $1,777,193 to Johnson Controls, Moline, Illinois, for services provided from June 1st through July 31st, 2021.
Move to approve claims items A through C.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. D, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $16,224.43 to McClintock Trucking and Excavating Incorporated, Silvis, Illinois, for services provided March 22nd through March 30th, 2021, at 1202 42nd Avenue as part of the Sewer Lateral Repair Program, Project 2564.
Motion to approve the, sorry, go ahead, Alderman Hurt, sorry, it's your word.
Oh, it's my word.
Go ahead.
Move to approve claims item D.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 15.
Claims for the week of July 9th through July 25th, 2021, in the amount of $990,432.92, and payroll for the week of June 8th through July 11th, 2021, in the amount of $1,570,706.64.
Motion to allow the claims and payroll.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 16.
ACH payments for the month of June 2021 in the amount of $2,882,297.24.
Move to approve the ACH payments.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 17.
Purchase card claims for the period of May 27th through June 28th, 2021, in the amount of $63,684.75.
Motion to approve the purchase card claims.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Nay.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
4-1, motion carries.
Item 18.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding the purchase of new handheld meter reading tablets in the amount of $11,559.60 from United Systems Incorporated, Benton, Kentucky.
Move to approve the purchases recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 19.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a request to negotiate a contract with CDM Smith Incorporated, Chicago, Illinois, for assistance in implementing maintenance repairs on the anaerobic digesters at the main wastewater treatment plant.
Move to authorize the city staff to negotiate a contract with CDM Smith Incorporated for engineering services towards digester maintenance.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 20.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a request to negotiate a contract with IMEG Corporation, Rock Island, Illinois, for assistance in implementing the renovation or replacement of the influent pump station at the Southwest Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Move to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with IMEG Corporation for engineering services towards pump station renovation or replacement.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
A wonderful Rock Island company.
Yes. Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
That was for Virgil Mayberry. Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 21.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a request to negotiate a contract with CDM Smith Incorporated, Chicago, Illinois, for assistance in implementing maintenance repairs on the storage domes at the water treatment plant.
Move to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with CDM Smith Incorporated for engineering services for maintenance of the storage domes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 22.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding the addition of McClintock Trucking and Excavating, Silvis, Illinois, to the emergency contractor rotation list.
Motion to approve the addition of McClintock Trucking and Excavating to the emergency contractor rotation list.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos, Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 23.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a water utility rate increase of 5.5% for all user classes each year through 2025.
Move to approve the water utility rate increases and authorize the city attorney to draft the appropriate ordinance changes.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Reluctantly, aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 24.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a wastewater utility rate increase of 4.5% for all user classes each year through 2025.
Move to approve the wastewater utility rate increase and authorize the city attorney to draft the appropriate ordinance changes.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
So just for your info, I did hand out something from Public Works. It's the CIP, project for stormwater, water, and wastewater. They're in the CIP, and then a couple projects that have popped up since we put the CIP together, which happens all the time, which currently aren't included in the CIP. This is just for your information to look through at some point.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Reluctantly, aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 25.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a stormwater utility rate increase of 34 cents per year for the average household each year through 2025.
Move to approve the stormwater utility rate increase and authorize the city attorney to draft the appropriate ordinance changes.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 26.
Don't need to be cute. Don't need to be cute anymore.
Report from the Finance Department regarding adjustments to the calendar year 2021 budget, increasing the MLK ILDHS revenues by $105,317 and expenditures by $132,304, increasing the ICJIA revenues by $245,577 and expenditures by $245,577, and increasing the MLK Activity Fund revenues and expenditures by $25,000.
Move to approve the budget adjustments as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 27.
Report from the Finance Department regarding the calendar year 2020 firefighters and police pension fund assumptions.
Move to approve the recommended pension assumptions.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
I'm going to recuse myself from this vote since I am a pensioner.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
4-0, motion carries.
Item 28.
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding a request to amend the parking lot improvement stipulation for the approved special use permit at 1406, 1412, and 1416 6th Avenue, allowing for 2 additional years until May 13th, 2023, to complete the required improvements to the parking lot.
Motion to approve the requested stipulation revision to allow until May 31, 2023, to make the required surface improvements to the parking lot. And we just suspend the rules and pass the ordinance?
Whatever your motion is, yes.
I'd love to do that, yes.
There a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Let's get to work.
Do we have enough votes to suspend the rules?
Everybody votes? What's that? 5 out of 7. Yep, if everybody votes in favor, we can.
Well, I mean, I think they'd like us to move forward on this. I don't think there's anyone here to really argue against it. Is there anything, CED?
No.
I mean, that's what we do. We suspend the rules to be able to move this forward.
Okay, let's vote.
All right, roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 29.
Report from the Mayor's Office regarding the appointment of Sarah Meyer and reappointments of Thurgood Brooks, Gregory Hampton, and Janet Lockhart Johnson to the Human Rights Commission.
Motion to appoint the reappointments and the appointments to as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Hurt.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 30.
Report from the Public Works Department and City Clerk's Office regarding a request from Mr. Alan Shea, on behalf of CCKMA to use the grassy area in front of the Sunset Marina office, along with parking, on Friday, September 10th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., to hold their annual poker run at Sunset Marina on Saturday, September 11th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and a request for sound amplification.
Motion to approve the events and requests are as recommended.
Second.
The second, any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurd.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 31.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding a request from Augustana College to use sound amplification on Saturday, August 28th, 2021, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. outside the lower quad of the campus for an outdoor concert.
Move to approve the request as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second, any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Hurd.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 32.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding a request from the Martin Luther King Jr. Center, 630 9th Street, to hold their annual Family Fun Day on Saturday, September 11th, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., with street closures at 9th Street between 6th and 7th Avenues, and a request for sound amplification.
Move to approve the event and requests as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Great event.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Enthusiastically aye.
Alderman Hurd.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
33, other business.
Yes. So we've been having discussions the last several council meetings in whatever form, whether through study sessions or other business regarding the Police Community Relations Commission. And last council meeting, Alderman Poulos and myself both were afforded the opportunity to make some changes and some things that we saw in there that we weren't particularly in agreement with. So I'd like to kind of go over something here in this. I'm sure everyone's got everyone has a copy, or probably several of them by now. Under the first section, 2-271, under generally, there's item C, and it would be actually number 2 under objectives. Would be number 2. So there's a section here where it talks about reviewing internal investigations of all cases where officers are subject to review from the Rock Island County Integrity Task Force. I found that to be problematic due to the fact is that the task force is comprised of not only the city of Rock Island, but it's headed up by the Illinois State Police and several other organizations. So I've asked our state's attorney, Dora Villarreal, to come up tonight and explain the problematic situation that would, why that is not a workable or a feasible thing. So Dora, could you come up and talk about that?
Did they already withdraw this? Did they already withdraw this?
The ordinance? That they're good to withdraw it, or?
No, he wants it on the agenda
Oh, it's not part of,
tonight.
okay, so it's not part of the negotiations on the resolution, correct?
Yeah, he's basically has said at this point, quoted that he doesn't want to change it anymore on his side.
This is from the final version.
Yes.
From his version, but then we
His
had
version.
last week, the discussion was, let's bring it back for discussion again and give everyone a chance to
So
submit
this is
their
that
input.
final version we're talking about, the last version we've all
From
seen.
July 1st.
That's all I needed to know.
Thank you, Dora.
Good evening. I do support community policing and a good relationship between all of our residents and all of our police departments. I am a Rock Island County, or I'm sorry, a City of Rock Island resident. So just very briefly here on the Integrity Task Force. The Integrity Task Force is activated when there is an officer-involved shooting, and it is comprised of more than just the City of Rock Island Police Departments. It's comprised of all of our local law enforcement agencies, which is why there could be some problems for the City of Rock Island to have a commission that attempts to, I guess, have jurisdiction over the Integrity Task Force. When there is a city involved in an officer-involved shooting, that city steps aside, and all of the other local law enforcement agencies come in and basically assist with an investigation, so the agency that's involved does not take any part of it. So they, in fact, just become outside of it. So it is considered independent. Once that investigation is completed, it is handed over to my office for my review for criminal charges only. So not to determine whether the proper police policy was done, not to determine whether this is the most moral or ethical situation. It's whether a crime occurred. Should an officer be charged, whether it was a shooting with an injury or a shooting with a death. So once I'm complete my opinion, I release that to the agency involved. Normally, I've had, unfortunately, 3 of these since I've taken office 2 years ago. And what I've done is try to be very transparent, spoken with the media on how my process is going. And I've also released video footage and my opinion, the same that I give to the agency involved, to the media and the public. So I guess when we're talking about a community relations commission that also works with the Integrity Task Force, you could be dealing with an incident that occurred in East Moline with an officer. So you would need the consent of the city of East Moline, Illinois State Police, City of Rock Island, my office. So there'd be numerous entities that are involved in the Integrity Task Force. It's not just the City of Rock Island, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does to me.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Sounds doable.
Thank you.
Appreciate the clarification.
Yeah, sounds extremely doable.
Oh,
Go ahead.
more?
Not for her, no, I did not.
No?
No, but more on your comments on the
Um,
police commission?
So, not on that part of it. Now, can I, Dave, can you come on up and talk for a minute?
That's why he's here. On his time off. Hi, Dave.
Hello, everyone. I was stuck late in court, and Hector was kind enough to step in and ably handle things this evening.
So I guess I'm asking you to come on up and talk about, were there any other legalities that, or anything procedurally that would not be, that would kind of negate some of the current language that's in this particular, I guess, outline here?
Our office did, and actually, Hector, I'll have you've got it, you can run the machine up there. But we did, I'll just give you a general explanation, and then Hector can give you the specifics from the memo. So our department.
Is it a public document? Can we?
No,
No,
confidential.
it's not a public document. The legal department drew a confidential legal opinion that we will discuss in summary.
Got it.
Correct. So there were, during that process, we did consult with IML. We did look at other communities who do have these types of programs or these kinds of commissions, and we did express our concerns about a couple of different areas that we expressed in that memo. As Mr. LaRoe has said, it was intended to be a confidential document, but there are, based on our review, there are some concerns that we expressed in that memo that we think would have to be addressed if you're going to have a functioning and legally enforceable document. I think if we don't address those, any challenges to the proposal as written would be successful and would likely have costly litigation consequences, and I think it would also, we would not be successful in defending it in its current form.
Dave, thank you. So just the summary, that was good. I mean, just to point out, you did find some problems, and I understand there's a confidentiality issue that's going on here. So, but I just wanted you to my biggest thing was, this was trying to get pushed through at the last council meeting, and I just felt like there was a push to get this done, and I personally did not like the format that was out there as of the last meeting, and I just wanted to let everyone know what my thoughts were on that, but thank you very much.
Well, and if you don't, if I can just amplify Dave's thoughts just a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, he has said correctly that challenges mounted to this ordinance, if enacted, would likely be successful. One of the reasons is that it would not be a valid ordinance if it were passed in its current form. Lawyers call that ultra virus, which is better than regular virus, I guess, but it means beyond the council's authority to act. Among those reasons are those given by the state's attorney. There's also some issues with unlawful delegation of city authority, and a number of other things that we can discuss in other settings.
And I guess I disagree with your assessment. We clearly have set guidelines for council to give their review to this document. There was 4 council members that responded to it. Legal clearly is prepared to discuss it, so there's no one pushing anything through.
Well, I remember last council meeting, there was a push to get this put on the agenda, to get this voted for, which prompted a couple of us to say, no, we would like to review this more. So before it gets put on there and before it's, I'm giving you my opinion on this, and I'm asking for, that's why I want some legal perspective on this, so that everybody's got full knowledge going into this.
Which we have, and at that last council meeting, the deadline, I believe Alderwoman Gilbert, we did set a deadline to have the legal
Brooks
opinion.
set the deadline.
To have it set and reviewed. And
But that's-
Mr. Brooks set
and at
the
the last
deadline.
council meeting, said next Wednesday, we all could let Randy know.
And they did, and I submitted that all to all of you.
And then you said, if I don't hear anything, that means everyone approves.
Okay.
That's what you said at that last council meeting 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I don't recall saying that. What I did send out a meeting last Monday, or an email last Monday to everybody, explaining what was going to happen with it, that here's the information, and you can review it, and then it's going to be discussed during other business.
And then how many responded? I reviewed it, I'm fine with it.
You
looks
said
great.
thanks for the information. You said thanks for the information, and Dylan said put it on the agenda, but only one person said to put it on the agenda, which was Dylan.
But everything else previous that said, I have no problems with any changes to this, throw it on the agenda. And you agreed to that. You said, I absolutely fine. Whatever any council member wants to negotiate with this resolution, fine. We set that date. There's been nothing that's been pushed through to get this on agenda. Alderwoman Gilbert, do you remember this?
It actually, and just real quick, I personally asked, and I reached out to Mark, and I reached to Randy and said, couldn't you get any adjustments that you wanted to see on it in by the end of that week or whatever it was?
Exactly.
And they did. So there was a bit of a push for that, for anybody to make comments.
But that's council
And-
setting their own
That's correct.
self-deadline, saying, let's push something through.
But that's correct. But
Exactly. No one felt we were pushing it through. We
They're good at us
self-identified, let's push it
Right.
through.
But then Mr. Brooks did ask that it be on today, this 60 days or whatever it was, on the agenda for tonight.
I'm getting sick of being.
But immaterial, it is where it's at.
Garbage.
It's really not worth debating that.
Exactly.
At this point, Mr. Brooks has indicated that his form that he turned in July 1st, or that we saw July 1st, was what he wanted presented, and he wasn't going to make any more changes. He was not going to make any of the changes that any of the council members sent in, the 4 people or whatever it is. And so then the city manager took that, gave it to legal counsel to give their opinion on that, and that's where we're at today. And so if it stays as that he offered in the first, as far as I hear, it's a mute issue, it's a dead issue, it's not going to be brought forth.
Mayor,
Yes,
I have a comment.
yes.
I think a better way to have handled this whole process, I know that he originally gave it to management, administration last year, and then he came back, I believe, May 24th to present it. At that point, with his draft, at that point, we should have requested the legal opinion to identify what were the issues with his draft, so that then those items could be negotiated. Instead, we spent 2 months meeting with Thurgood and members of his team, negotiating, doing revisions, and then we decided to ask for the legal opinion.
Yes.
So in my mind, that was kind of a little bit backwards, because now I don't know where we're at.
Trying to fit them at the table that we created.
Yeah, we could debate this all night long. I got to say that
For the
you want
future.
to, you don't want to waste.
You didn't bring it up on the other agenda.
Well, why would
We're
you
not
ask
bringing it
for a
up.
legal
Someone
opinion
brought
if
it
you're
up.
not moving forward? To be honest, why would you ask for a legal opinion and pay for the costs if it's something that we're not going to move forward on, which is why the illegal opinion was not asked for first.
That's right.
Because there was never a consensus that we were going to move forward on this, even though an outside entity was placing timeline demands on us. So, I mean, to be honest with you, this is the appropriate time that a legal opinion comes up, when it's at the point where, are we going to put it on an agenda and vote? Because why would you vote for something that has no legal standing?
I didn't raise the question on that one. Don't get mad
No,
at
I'm
me.
just stating my comment, because
I didn't raise
I'm
that
tired
question.
of the round and round and round and round on this whole thing.
Well, that wasn't my
I mean,
question.
in all honesty, if you really want to build a police community relations committee that is actually going to achieve the goal of what everybody wants, you put a committee together to work towards positive interaction, not an oversight committee, but you work for positive interaction, and as that momentum gets going, then you can start adding a little bit more to it. But if the goal is positive police community interaction, that's what you put forward. You don't jump light speed ahead to put an oversight committee together.
Yeah, I agree.
And I
You gotta-
reiterate
you gotta
that,
start
to me, I
somewhere.
think I dropped the
agree.
policing.
Not talking.
I agree.
It's,
You gotta start somewhere.
to me, it's, you drop the police. It's a community issue,
100%.
not just police. And that's what we need to address.
Exactly.
And continue to work on how can we improve it
Well,
throughout the whole community.
All can agree on that.
On all parts of the community.
Yes,
And
finally.
that's what we maybe need to sit back and try to work on, whether we start a new committee or commission on that, or an ad hoc task force. But that's what we need to work on to, more than.
well, in my
What is my
mind,
point?
those comments should have been made 2 months ago. I mean, I just watched your interview on Channel 4, and you're talking about a police commission, and then we get the legal opinion back saying, no, you can't do it in this manner. So if we had had that to start with, or we had had the comments or the feedback, the input saying, no, I think we need more of a community relations commission.
I did
Yes,
mention
and
that,
you make a
actually.
very good point to that, too.
Yeah,
Several-
I've been
several
preaching,
meetings ago.
Agreed.
I have been
agree to that,
preaching
too.
that since
But-
day one.
I
Since
agree.
day one, that
Yeah.
is what I've said, and I have been shot down by
Correct.
numerous people.
Correct.
Well,
And
agreed
so
on
that,
that.
and so I think we're really, at this point, I'm not sure the purpose of continuing this
I
debate.
didn't bring it up. Yeah.
We've got legal advice.
Move forward.
We've heard from Assistant State's Attorney, that I think that we just move on. And at this point, it's a mute issue on that ordinance.
I have some other business.
That is fine.
Wonderful. So Wildwood, I call it the 3 points. So if you live by 50 Wildwood, that's Dr. Von Gellern. August 1, I'll be walking the neighborhood. We're going to talk about your ravine. We got people from the Rock Island Soil Conservation District, some folks that do some backyard landscaping. City's not responsible for maintaining or doing anything with that ravine, but we're great at offering advice. So come on back. I'll be walking the neighborhood this week. Also got a call from Pete from Mid-American. There's 2 loops to Wildwood. You got the north loop and the south loop. Because Wildwood's one of our beautiful neighborhoods and we have all of the electrical lines buried underneath, they're coming through to dig them up and replace them. So there's going to be a lot of trenching. They called me to remind all folks, don't worry, if you see a sidewalk getting ripped up, it's all good. They're going to come back and they're going to replace it. There's a different company that contracts and does it. We are working with David Reese, the Wildwood Association new director, and David Raquette, the new alderman in Moline of that ward, and I are working together to host some 2 different parties. This third thing I'd like to address is I have a new fund that we started through my election cycle because I didn't really need any to run for election. We had a fundraiser this past weekend. It was a barbecue for the 7th Ward Investment Fund. It raised $2,500. Added to the fundraisers we did during COVID, that's $3,750 that's getting reinvested into the 7th Ward. Randy, we dropped off $750 to the PTA at Dankman to help with the sidewalk painting, that meeting that we had last week. Great. And then the fourth thing, one of the things that I do in the community is I have to tell a congregation that sees me as an ordained minister, we can disagree in public. We can have times where we have civil discourse, but we also have a responsibility to show what a responsible discourse is. Profanity is not welcome.
That's correct.
In this room, and it doesn't matter what cause you bring, you are shut down and you're asked to leave. We have a generation watching how we are going to lead. Folks are noticing. People have been watching online. Profanity is not welcome in Rock Island. And I wish the crowd was here because hopefully I'd have a applause and an amen. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. I have,
Well, I just need some clarification on the Police Community Commission that was brought forward. Mr. Brooks still wants it on the agenda.
Yes, please.
No.
I mean, I guess I need some guidance from council whether you want to put it on the agenda.
Well, I thought it was,
Well, it's
I thought
saying
legal
no.
said it was
Well,
an
they're
illegal
saying no, but,
commission.
I mean,
If it's an illegal
got one
commission,
alderman
why-
that wants to put it on the agenda. I've got a second that wants to put it on the agenda.
Moses isn't here, so I
Well-
don't think it's fair to ask tonight, but if you would like to know in public, yes, put it on the agenda.
I know why. I'm not sure what purpose.
I'm just,
And the point.
well, I just need some guidance here because Mr. Brooks is going to call me.
At this point, there's
He's gonna
only,
call
we
me.
only hear one
No,
that wants it on
the
there.
mayor just,
Like it on the record, I would like it on the record that yes, we had legal review it. The thing that has been posed that everyone has reviewed, that the 7th Ward has commented that has been reviewed by judges who are retired from the judicial system, people who are retired from the state's attorney's office, that have reviewed the document that have said what they disagree with. Those were my comments that were made to the document that you all have had since July 1. So do we need a legal review? I went to the folks in the 7th Ward that know more about this than I do, and I hope you all were doing your jobs to do the same. I don't need to be
Dave, I think we have a
self-righteous
state's
this year.
attorney here that knows
Dave,
the job
Dave,
better than
Dave,
you
the
do.
issue is, the document was not changed based on those comments that you turned
Exactly.
in.
He's
So no, I would
refusing to
like
change it, Dave.
I
He's
would like it
refusing
on
to
the
change-
agenda,
You-
because there's no changes
But
that
he-
I would see my ward that saw on the agenda that we asked for the deadline for
Well,
July 1.
at this point, we only hear one person who wants it on the agenda.
so, I have a question. So, are we ever going to make that legal opinion public?
That's entirely your call. The city council holds the attorney-client privilege, and it's yours to waive on this issue.
Sure. You want votes?
I guess I would say that we make the attorney comment public with the denial that we're not going to put it on the agenda, because there's no
To accompany it, yeah.
valid reason to put it on the agenda.
I agree.
I mean,
I'll
it's
take
not
that.
a legal
Sure.
document, it can't be legally done, so
Fine.
the opinion is no.
I'll agree to that, sure.
Yep, I would like that noted, as well as our state's attorney's opinion on there as
Whatever.
well.
Okay.
So, but it's a no for me.
But we can
Just
get
as
some
a-
type of resolution group going.
As a point, I guess as a point of order, I guess, or not a point of order, but just procedurally, we're not in a situation where we're voting or not voting
Right.
in order to waive privilege. So I guess I would feel much more comfortable if we did that as a formal,
Yeah.
in a setting, I mean, we certainly are free to discuss it, but I would feel more comfortable if we did that in a formal setting so that there was a vote that says, yes, we're going to, and this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
And
apologize.
then can we put, then can we put
No,
it on the
that's-
agenda for the next meeting to vote for the release of the legal opinion?
Yes.
Yeah, and I apologize. I just
would
thought
be
Randy was looking for a quick answer.
Yep,
so
that's
I
what we're doing.
apologize.
And
It's just a work, it's a process.
Guys, if I implied that we could just sort of sit here and nod, Dave's
Thank
absolutely
you.
right.
I apologize.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. That help with your clarification, Mr. Tweet?
Yeah, so next meeting, we're just bringing back that discussion on waiving the legal,
Correct.
releasing the legal opinion.
Waiving our confidence.
Okay. I would like, if there's none others, I'd like to end on a positive note.
I have positive things to say.
Is, I want to do a shout out to Drake Williams and Scooter McGivin. There was a deal they did. Scott, what's that?
Scott Gable.
Okay, Scott Gable, okay. I'm going on nicknames here at people's, so I apologize for that, for the shout out. But if you watch the video that was out on Facebook and everything else, put out by the police department, by him, et cetera, but they had for the heat, they had the fire hydrants going, and these guys actually got out and not only just were there entertaining and watching, they actually put the kids on their back, walked through the water themselves, and everything else, and really continued to show the kids their involvement and not to be afraid of any authority or anything else. It was fun to watch this if you get out on social media or whatever. But I want to do a shout out. That was a great deal. It was what even makes it better is they weren't there for any press or anything else. They were doing it for the love and the care of the community. And so I just want to do that shout out. It's a great little videos out there for those two gentlemen. There's others great ones out there, but that's the most recent one. So I just want to commend them and thank them for that efforts. All right, item 34.
Executive session, 5 ILCS 120/2, C11. Litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Move to go into executive session for the exceptions cited.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion on it? Roll call.
Alderwoman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Keenan,
Aye.